Hi everyone, Russ Vaughan here. I'm here at the Ag Trade Center. I just spoke to the AgForestry group. That's a bunch of members of agricultural business and forestry, and they're going through leadership training. I think it's a 2-year program, and I just was able to have the good fortune to talk to them. Grateful for that. A lot of great people in there asking great questions. And then we had the Northeast Washington Forestry Coalition members of the board come in, and we had a panel discussion talking about all the things that we do in collaborative forestry, forest restoration, some of the projects we've worked on, how we work with others, how we focus on interests versus positions, how we focus on abundance and getting more for everyone, not just slicing the pie into small pieces, and how that's been successful for us. And so that was a really exciting opportunity and fun thing to do today to get the day started. And I'll show you some clips of that here. So we stopped essentially managing. At the same time, we kept fighting fire. And then over the last 10 years, you've heard, okay, we've got large or catastrophic wildfires. And that's directly correlated to the fact that we've been letting the fuel build up while we've been suppressing those fires for the last 30 years. So now we've got thousands of trees per acre where we may have had hundreds, and there's this ladder fuel that takes the fire right up into the canopy. All of the technology in milling has moved to a smaller diameter. So what's considered a big log today was considered just a regular run-of-the-mill log in the past. The other mills in the region are incredible tools for us. So if the small log mill was the only one here, we would have a problem. We'd either have to invest in other technology to handle the bigger logs. And when I talk about bigger logs, I mean anything over 12 inches. So the small log mill can only run a log about the size of the steering wheel in your vehicle. So beyond that, you have to find something to do with it. Well, trees grow beyond that size. So when Vaughan Brothers has a stewardship project, there's about 15 to 18% of that has to go someplace else, whether it's cedar, whether it's veneer logs for the plywood plant for Boise, or ponderosa pine that Boise would cut into boards, or maybe logs that when we get closer to Idaho that go to Idaho Forest Group to have a little bit larger breakdown. So I think what we're seeing now is the forest and the needs of the forest matching up with technology. So we're really right-sizing our forest industry for the management that we need on our forests. Unfortunately, Colville is the exception and not the rule. So we're able to add value to those activities out in the forest because of the infrastructure that's built. All those other sawmills that went away, they don't have that. And so it's not a big mystery where these large fires are happening, because there is no infrastructure there to add value. So everything's a cost. So you can imagine if you had to remove 10,000 trees on your property, and the only thing you could do is grind it up, burn it, or bury it, that's going to be very expensive. Whereas here, and a lot of landowners don't even realize the value that's here, they can go call somebody and say, hey, would you come take a look at this? And they come take a look at it, they come together with a management plan, and they give them a check. It's a big difference. What it should look like and how it should be behaving ecologically. And then we build a business around that. I think it's kind of akin to waste management, harvesting methane gas from a dump. It's like we created a project from a problem and created a product that can really benefit people. And then I started hearing about cross-laminated timber. And basically it's where you take one piece long ways, and you lay it down next to a bunch of others, so it looks basically like a deck. And then you take whatever width you're trying to create. In our sake, we'll be creating about a 4-foot wide product. And you take 4-foot wide product or long product, and you put it on top of that layer with a layer of glue in between. And then you come back with a long piece, and you set that layer on top of that, and then you press it together. And what that does is the adhesive actually bonds stronger than the wood fibers bond to one another. So it's the equivalent of weaving the wood together. So it's got strength in both directions now. Does that make sense? So you got the grains going perpendicular to one another. We do it in plywood. I don't know what took us so long to figure out how to do it with lumber. But there was a guy in Austria that discovered it in the 90s, and It's so prevalent in Europe now. It's hard to believe that people don't know about it here. And so they're making panels that are, depending on the manufacturer, 8 to 10 feet wide, up to 60 feet long. And each of those panels are pre-designed for location in a structure.
You know, enemies who didn't talk to each other too much could pretty quickly find some common ground on where we might want to have active management on the forest. So we kind of drew up a blueprint within the Northeast Washington Forestry Coalition, had lots of meetings, inputted science into it all, which today continues as the adaptive management.
I think fire with wood's going to constantly be an issue. The reason we have 6-story caps on wood structures is because of the fires that happened. In particular, I mean, almost every major city has some sort of major fire history, which is why we have fire hydrants, which is why we have sprinklers in buildings. I think that we're going to be so over-conscious of the fire issues in these structures that they're going to be sprinkled properly, and the wood's going to hold up more than enough for the concerns of fire. And so now we'll head back in and tackle the day. I've got a few other things going on today that it'll be of interest. I'm going to go to the office and figure out a few things, and then from there we'll head to meet up with the Northeast Washington Forestry Coalition and some members of the community for a new Chewelah A to Z forestry project that's coming up. And then after that, I'll be heading to Spokane to go meet with our media group, Ben and Sway, and talk about a few things there before hitting the road to the west side of the state for the weekend. So thanks everybody. We'll share some of that as we go along. And yeah, thanks for watching. Really appreciate all the comments and likes and shares and all that stuff. It's really important. So thanks. Have a great day.